everyone, welcome back to 5-Minute Fridays. I'm just about to start my 5-minute workout for today. This workout is going to be very simple. We're just doing inchworms and downward facing dog. So simple, but not easy. Downward facing dog is really, really tough, but I'm going to do my best to kind of walk you through how to do a downward facing dog if you are a complete beginner. I'm not a yoga instructor, so please cut me a little slack. If you are a yoga instructor or if you just have a lot of experience doing yoga and you have some tips or tricks for beginners beyond what I'm about to show you, then please feel free to leave those in the comments, because you guys know that it is really important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. I'm always here to help facilitate that, but in this case, this is a little bit out of my area of expertise, so I would welcome any help. But I will do my best to walk you through how to do a downward facing dog if you are a complete beginner. Please remember that there are timestamps in the description box down below the video, so if you want to skip over the little tutorial and go straight ahead to the workout, you can use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to see the exercises demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now, because it's really important that you understand how to do the exercises with the correct form before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury and just so that you make sure you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. This workout's going to be only 5 minutes long, so we want to make sure that we're really getting the most out of the movement that we possibly can. So as I said, we're just doing inchworms and downward facing dogs. Downward facing dog. Well, we're going to be doing several of them, so I guess you could say downward facing dogs. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. So body weight only. You will not need any exercise equipment whatsoever to follow along with this workout. You can see I have a yoga mat. If you have a yoga mat or an exercise mat, go ahead and get that ready. If you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you can probably get away without one. But if you have one, I would say go ahead and get it ready. So let's start with our inchworms. All that means is that you're going to start towards one end of your mat and standing in a neutral position. So your feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, whatever is comfortable for you. Hands are at your sides. Okay, you're going to bend down, place your hands on the ground in front of you or on your mat in front of you, and then you're going to start walking your hands out until you are in a plank position. Plank position means your hands are underneath your shoulders and your hips are lifted high. So make sure that your back is flat. We're gonna want a flat back for basically this entire workout, okay? So don't allow your hips or your belly to droop like this. See how my back is arched? We don't want that. Tighten up those abs, lift the hips high in your plank position, okay? And then the next thing we're going to do, we're gonna go right from here to our downward facing dog. So for a downward facing dog, what you're going to do is lift your hips up high and push them back. Okay, so you want to try to think of getting your chest towards your thighs. That's the basic movement. Now, the first thing I want you to think of is the placement of your hands. So before you press yourself up and throughout the duration of the exercise, I want you to press your palms into the ground. Actively think like you're pushing the ground away from you, but I want the focus to be between your thumb and your index finger. Okay, so specifically, I want you to kind of press that way so that your shoulders are kind of rotating in the right direction, if that makes sense. So actively think of pressing your palms into the mat, but especially this area between your thumb and your forefinger. The other thing that's important is that you want a flat back. So that's why you want to really lift those hips up high, and you want to focus on trying to push your chest back so that it actually, visualize trying to touch your thighs with your chest. Ideally, you want your hands facing forward and more or less in line with your shoulders, but if you are a beginner, it is fine and it might be a little bit easier to widen your hands so they're out a little wider, and you can even have your fingers pointing out at a little bit of like a 45-degree angle. If your shoulders are tight, that's going to help you. But still, even if your hands are wider apart, and even if your fingers are pointing out at kind of a 45-degree angle, you still want to focus on pressing down into your mat, this area of your hand between your thumb and your index finger. Okay? So, flat back, that's the main thing. As long as your back is flat and you're downward facing dog, I think that's really kind of the number one thing. So if you are able to straighten your legs, fantastic, that's what we're going for. But if you are a beginner, you need to bend your knees to do this, or if you're real tight in your hamstrings, that's absolutely fine. This is a downward facing dog, okay? This is a downward facing dog for beginners or people with tight hamstrings, and that's totally fine. So don't worry if your legs are bent. You're trying to straighten them, but not at the expense of rounding your back. So if you can straighten your legs, fantastic. Now from here, if you are able to get your heels down onto the mat, great. That's what we're going for. But again, if you're tight, you can have your heels elevated off the mat, and this can be your down dog. That is absolutely fine. The main thing is just that you want to visualize trying to touch your thighs with your chest, and you want a flat back. Those are the main two points that you want to make sure you're hitting in your downward facing dog. Bent legs are fine, heels lifted off the mat are fine, as long as your back is flat and you're pushing the mat away from you. So you want to make sure as you're doing that, if you're doing it correct, you're pushing the mat away from you, it's going to happen naturally, but it's just something else to be aware of, that if you find your shoulders are up by your ears, you need to check in with your body, because that's not where you want your shoulders to be. You want your shoulders down, away from your ears. Now, if you really focus on pushing the ground away from you, that's going to fall into place for you. Okay, so shoulders away from the ears, hands where they feel comfortable, okay? In line with your shoulders if you can, fingers face forward if you can, but if you need to widen that stance a little bit, if you need to point your fingers out a little bit, that's fine. Just make sure that you are pressing the ground away with this area of your hand that is between your thumb and your index finger. Lift your hips up high and actively press the ground away. Try to push yourself back so that your hips are going up to the sky and your chest is on its way to meet the tops of your thighs. Straighten the legs as much as you can and get those heels down to the mat if you can. But that's it, that's basically the whole workout. So we're gonna inchworm out, and then we're gonna go into our downward facing dog, and then we're gonna inchworm back in. So from your plank position, you're gonna start walking your hands back in, and then stand, and that's it. That's the whole workout. So that's it. That's all, both exercises, inchworms and downward facing dog. Now here's the format. My timer is set for 30 rounds of one 10-second interval. Okay, so 30 times 10 is 300. So 300 seconds is 5 minutes. That's our 5 minutes. So what we're going to do is, there's no rest interval. As soon as I start my timer, the first 10 seconds is to walk yourself out, to do our first inchworm, walk yourself out into a plank position. And then you'll hold there until you hear the timer beep. Once the timer beeps, that means it's time to go up into our downward facing dog. We're going to hold down dog for 10 seconds. And then when the timer beeps again, you'll come back down to your plank and inchworm yourself back up to stand. And we're just going to repeat that a total of, what is it, 10 times, I think? Yeah, 10 times. Because each time we do that little sequence, it's going to take us a total of 30 seconds. And the workout is 300 seconds long. So we're gonna do that 10 times. It's gonna be really, really tough, you guys. Downward facing dog is no joke. So do your best. If you need to rest, rest. And then just, get back into it as soon as you can. I'm gonna do my best to get through the whole 5 minutes without resting, but obviously, the goal of these workouts is never to just kill yourself. So just do your best with it. If you need to pause and rest, and just get back into it as soon as you can, okay? Do your best. Your best is always good enough, so let your best be good enough. All right, remember that I always take the time to type out the instructions in the description box down below the video, and I'm going to do the whole workout with you. So watch me do it, read the instructions, but of course, if there are any questions about how to do these exercises correctly or about the format, how it fits together, if you need any further help with beginner modifications for the downward facing dog, or if you need to see a beginner modification for the inchworms, I am right here. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. If you are ready to go ahead and start this 5-minute workout with me, grab an exercise mat or a yoga mat if you have one, and take a minute to make sure you're good and warmed up. And when you're ready, let's get started. Timer is set for one 10-second interval times 30 rounds. So there's no rest interval. As soon as I start my timer, we're gonna get going with that first inchworm, okay? We're gonna walk out into a plank position, and then with our next 10-second interval, we're gonna go to downward facing dog, and then we're gonna walk it back, okay? We're gonna do that 10 times. I'm nervous, you guys, because this one is gonna be super tough. Thank God it's only 5 minutes long. All right, I'm starting my watch, and I am starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So start with your inchworm. You're gonna walk those hands out into a plank position and hold for the remainder of our 10-second interval. Now with our next 10-second interval, you're gonna push those hips up and back, trying to get your chest to your thighs, and you're gonna hold here in downward facing dog. Back to your plank position and walk it back. Use the rest of this 10-second interval to rest, and then we're gonna repeat that another 9 times. So there's our beat, that's our 10 seconds to walk it out into a plank, hold here, and then with the next beep, downward facing dog. So pushing the ground away from you, pushing those hips up high. Remember, it's okay if your legs are bent. And it is okay if your heels are up off the mat. That is totally fine. Walk it out and hold in plank until you hear that timer again. As soon as you hear the beep, downward facing dog for 10 seconds. Push the hips up and back. Remember to focus on pressing through that area between your thumb and your index finger. Back down to plank, walk it back in, stand and rest. Inchworm. Walk the hands out, hold your plank position. Remember to keep your abs tight. Don't let your hips drop, don't let your belly droop down to the mat. Downward facing dog. Flat back. Remember, that's really the only important thing, is that your back is flat. Shoulders away from the ears, pushing those hips up high, trying to get your chest to your thighs. And here in your plank, remember, don't let your hips or your belly drop down like that. Tighten up those abs. Make sure to keep your hips lifted high in that plank. Plank and inchworm back. Walk those hands back in and stand. Again, walk it out and hold for the remainder of the 10 seconds. Hips up and back. Chest to thighs. Shoulders away from the ears. Back to your plank position. Walk it in and stand. Keep going. I know it's hard. I know planks are hard. I know downward facing dog is hard. So just do your best. If you need to sit out a couple of intervals and rest, that's totally fine. I I do want you to push yourself since it's only 5 minutes, but it's never a good idea to push your body into doing something that you're not ready to do yet. So obviously, if you need to rest, you should rest. All right, we're getting there. I think we only have 2 rounds left if I'm not mistaken. So walk it out, hold your plank, hands underneath the shoulders, hips are high, abs are tight, core is engaged. Now push those hips up and back. Heels down if you can, legs straight if you can. But remember that is not your top priority. I think that was round number 9. You guys, we just have 1 more round to go. Here we go. Hands down. Inchworm, walk those hands out. Hold your plank position. Breathe. And now this is it. This is our final downward facing dog. Fight for it. All right, nice job. Come out. Walk it back. And we're done. That's our 5 minutes. Good job. Really good job, you guys. That was a tough 5 minutes. We are not quite finished yet. No workout of mine is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just 1 rep left to go. Let's do our bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete when you're ready. Final rep of the day. Here we go. Also, please remember that if you are an absolute beginner, that does not absolve you from doing your bonus burpee. You still have to do a bonus burpee. If you can't do the burpee the way I was doing it, there are a million different burpee variations. So just do any burpee variation that works for you, but you do have to do a bonus burpee. If you need help coming up with a burpee variation that you can manage, if you think you can't do burpees, yes, you can. I promise you can do a burpee, and if you need help, please ask, because we will come up with a burpee variation that you can do. But for my beginners, let me go ahead and do a beginner bonus burpee with you. So instead of jumping my feet back, I'm gonna come down and step them back. Now I'm gonna place my knees on the mat. I'm gonna do a little baby push-up. I'm gonna make sure my back stays flat. I'm not going to let my hips drop down like this. And I'm gonna keep my head still. I'm not gonna lower my forehead to the ground. Head in line with the spine, hands underneath the shoulders. I'm gonna bend my elbows and lower my chest down to the mat as low as I can. So if that's here, that's fine. If you can get it all the way down, great. Then I'm gonna push the mat away from me, come back up into my plank position, step the feet in, and stand. And if you want, you can do a little jump up, or you can come up onto your toes, okay? If you need to eliminate the push-up altogether, that's fine too. Like I said, there are a million different burpee variations. Some of them include push-ups, some of them do not. So do what works for you. But beginner burpee, here we go. Hands down, step the feet back. Knees, push up, plank, step the feet back in, stand, and come up onto the toes. With that, the workout is now officially complete. Normally at this point is where I would be doing my McFlurry Minute, but I'm barefoot and I'm too lazy to go put shoes on and go get my jump rope. So since we're out here doing downward facing dog today, I thought let's try something new today. For the McFlurry Minute today, instead of jumping rope, I am going to see if I can hold my downward facing dog for 1 minute. I haven't done yoga in like 100 years, so I really don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but I'm going to do my best. If I can stay in my downward facing dog pose without coming out of it for 60 seconds, everybody wins a free McFlurry. So I have my timer set for a 10-second rest interval first, and then a 1 minute work interval. So here goes nothing. This is I'll bring it down here. I just want to make sure that I don't lose anything off of my 60-second work interval because I don't want to cheat. So I'm going to have my timer down here. All right, 10 seconds, to get ready. 3, 2, 1. Not that the McFlurry Minute is especially riveting to watch, I'm sure, but I feel like this is going to be 10 times more boring, so I should speed it up and just ask you to trust me that I'm not cheating on our system. Shout out if you're sitting there watching me like do down dog for a full minute. Because I don't even think I'm gonna watch this part. I'll probably skip it. Oh, rain. If you're doing this with me, please let me know that I'm not alone. Oh, that's it? Oh my God, I thought that was gonna be so hard for me. That felt like nothing. When I'm jumping rope lately for 60 seconds, it feels like an hour. That felt like nothing. I should challenge myself and see if I can hold it for 5 minutes. Oh, that doesn't sound like fun. I wonder if I could do it though. Let's leave that for another day, shall we? I'll find out on some other day in the future if I am able to hold downward facing dog for 5 minutes. For today, my goal was to hold it for 1 minute, and I did that successfully. So you know what that means? Ice cream for lunch. Meet me at McDonald's. Free McFlurries all around. You're welcome. That's it, you guys. That's all I have for you today. If you did this little 5-minute workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. I thought this would make a great warm-up for a longer workout, so I might start mixing this in with my little warm-up routines because I thought that was a really great warm-up. So if you did the workout with me, let me know if this is all you're doing today or if you're using it as a warm-up for something else. Thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately, and even if you are not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything is unclear with today's workout, if you're unclear about the format, if you have any questions about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with beginner modifications, I am right here. So do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or if you need help. If you like these 5-minute workouts and you would like to see more of them, please remember that I have an entire playlist of 5-minute workouts on my channel. I will link it right there. And we will be continuing to do these 5-minute Fridays for the foreseeable future. So that means that I will be continuing to bring you at least one new 5-minute workout a week, every week for the foreseeable future. That is going to do it for today, and I will see you all next time. Bye.